Y'all might be wondering why in my last video I was actually reading from my screen, because I was doing some deep research. And these people, whoever they are, that basically say you shouldn't do research with like AI or anything like that, this video is not for you. But this helps me to not only um, pull up historical things that I can debunk, but also allow spirit to speak to me and put two and two together however I need to. Do I do this all the time? No, but when it's serious, when I'm trying to like unravel some things, I immediately start being like trying to figure out what has been said in history and allow spirit to really talk to me about what's really going on. But here we go. We still debunk it. So after my last video, here's what popped into my head. What other practices were put in place surrounding the birth of Christianity 2,000 years ago? And why is 2,000 years as a number so important? Why are years before 2,000 years ago not spoke of or spoken of less? Um, and then I also was wondering, like, is it a play on power of methods of forgetting and reinforcing the brainwashing or conversion that have been put in place to support the personas and narratives that uphold the lie of the story or stories that were put in place to control? That was my question, because I really was like talking to myself, but I like to go into like spiritual, psychological, even some psychology and also energy. I like to really like deep dive. So here we go. We jumping all the way in with we ain't got no flippers on or nothing. So the first thing is, if you think about it, 2,000 years ago, humanity was going through a massive shift, much like we are today. Spiritually, socially, and cosmically, things were being rewritten because there had been things that were in place that were not. It was more expansive than a smaller group could control. Like they couldn't really keep things under wraps because people were doing a lot of their own things, creating their own narratives, and the powers that be, or the ones who were trying to come into power, like the Romans, and different people who were trying to, the Jewish and people who were trying to establish Christianity, they literally were like, we got to find something. So within, they understood that with Judaism, it was too specific to their culture, right? So, and then the other practices that were written on cave walls and on scrolls, that stuff was too powerful. So they had to, like, if you think about it, they burned down, they burned up all the stuff that was in the Library of Alexandria, okay? And then they started like, they sent Moses in to go get the people. He said there was his people. He took ownership of them. He promised them a new Egypt. And then with that transition, the Roman Empire was expanding. So all of this was going on so that Rome could expand, okay? The birth of Christianity merged from a blend of Jewish prophecy, Greek philosophy, and ancient mystery traditions from Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Persia. So Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Persia were powers. They were big masses of people, and they had a blending of like goddess based and nature based traditions, and they also slowly absorb and label things as pagan, which means of the land. So they basically took the beliefs of the land and demonized them to convert the people to say basically this is wrong. So this was the true like conversion from people being led by their emotions, saying that this thing that you were doing that allowed you to be free, that freedom, that moving in the spirit is not, it's wrong. It's wrong when it's outside of the constructs of how we're telling you need to do it. This is the new way. This is a safer way. This will keep you from coming up against, famine and demons and different things like that. Yet, these practices still have someone that they consider to be a demon. All of them speak of a devil, basically taking the accountability out of a person and putting it into something outside of themselves so they have something to blame. So here's where it gets good. Why the number 2000 feels so significant. The precession of the equinoxes move through the zodiac sign roughly every 2160 years. Around that time, the time of Jesus, earth transitions in the age of Aries, war, conquest, and I am, to the Pisces age, faith, compassion, and I believe. So they were moving from a space of, or a time within the cosmically of I am, to a time of I believe. So they understood long before long before it was coming, like we knew the age of Aquarius was coming. They understood that the age of I believe was coming. So they had to put a belief in place, or beliefs in place, to be able to control the masses, to create the hierarchy that needed to be put in place, because they understood if people were able to believe what they wanted to believe, it's almost like setting animals free. They had to cage them. They had to build like little stables to keep everybody at bay, like in those confines. And the thing that was the little zapping electrical current was your belief system. Christianity, Islam, Judaism, all of those different things were put in place as control mechanisms. So whenever things are changing, and understand that when things are being put in place, they understand that it needs to align with the cosmic age cycle. There's a cosmic age cycle, which is every 2160 years. So basically every 2000 years, they have to re-put something in place to reinforce what they want to stay, and to release what they no longer want to be existing. So this says psychologically and symbolically, 2000 years represent a collective epcot of belief systems, stories, power structures, and shaped civilizations. As we near the end of the cycle, collective awakening and remembering occur. If humanity's amnesia spell is wearing off. So each spell that is put on humanity as a collective right now, what is trying to be reinforced right now, the collective is running around like little free. They're doing whatever they want. They're like, I don't want no religion. I don't want to work. I want to be connected to spirit. And now fear, guilt, and shame, which are the constructs of religious practices, they're the control mechanisms, are now being used because the amnesia spell, the awakening is happening. The amnesia spell is wearing off. Okay? And it's normally reinforced in order for you. It's much like your immune system. Your body needs your immune system to be weakened. So the collective immune system is being weakened by fear, guilt, and shame. And that's how people are being worn down, so that the amnesia spell of what has been before, and all of the information that you gathered, all of the understanding that you have, all of the will that you have to be close to spirit, to function in spirit, to commune with spirit, how you desire, that amnesia spell will then convert you back to whatever narratives are trying to be put in place to make you the good employee, the person who works for someone else's dream, the person who doesn't have its own will to do what it wants to do, who feels guilty for taking days off for vacation days or sick days that you've earned. Like, all of these things are put in place, and it's done with the cosmic age cycles. They understand that this is why there's an observatory. There's an observatory in the one place at the Vatican. There's an observatory. Duke University put it there. They understand cosmic things, even if it's not something that they completely support. But understand, it's blended. The information is blended instead of banded. And the things that are banned are the ones that have the strongest hold on the people. to convert and to set free.